Previously on Boomer the Nerd.
I have something really cool today. I was not expecting this whatsoever, and I'm so excited to unbox this.
One of heavy metal's finest frontmen. Let's go over the mountain. Let's review the McFarlane Toys Ozzy Osbourne. It's geeking time.
Oh my gosh. This is insane. This is really insane.
Well, since we had a look at Rob Zombie, I figured we'd take a look at Ozzy Osbourne. This was released by McFarlane Toys back in the year 2000. And oh boy, does this toy look really awesome. Basically, this was the first of two Ozzy Osbourne figures released by McFarlane Toys. The second one was Bark at the Moon, which I do have, in my collection, and that one's still in packaging. But this was awesome enough to be provided to me by my friend Jay. What a beautiful looking figure. And as I had a look at Rob Zombie, today's no different. What I would call a grail figure. Today, let's take a look at McFarlane Toys Ozzy Osbourne. Okay, so as you can see, Ozzy Osbourne himself comes with a backdrop. It's out of focus on the camera, but comes with his logo on top of the backdrop and comes with a slew of doves and bats. This is a really cool looking figure. This is what you would call, a grail figure. This is something that I had always wanted ever since I was younger, ever since I'd seen this figure, along with Rob Zombie, along with Alice Cooper, which we will have a look at next. So, in terms of Ozzy Osbourne, again, as I mentioned, this was released by McFarlane Toys. I'm not exactly certain if this has to do with any particular album or if it has to do with, I don't know if it's the No More Tears era of Ozzy Osbourne. Nonetheless, it's just a really menacingly cool looking figure of Ozzy Osbourne. Before we take a look at the figure itself, let me move him to the side. Let's take a look at everything here. I'm going to lay him down because he doesn't really stand up unless he's on the base. Let's take a look at everything that Ozzy Osbourne comes with. So first things first, we have some little bats. Can't really do too much with them aside putting them on the stand or on the ground. Those two bats together. Here's another bat by itself. And we have another solo bat here with his poor head bitten off. Ozzy got hungry, so he bit his head off. And then we have two bats right here. Two bats joined together. And one of them with their head ripped off. Again, poor little bat. He also comes with a slew of doves with pretty much all of their heads bit off. But the detail is really nice as well on the doves. Very nice looking detailing. With the bats, you're just getting a basic black. And look, you've got two doves smashing into each other. So there. Again, really nicely detailed. Here you got a whole cluster of doves all together. Again, really nicely sculpted and painted. I wish McFarlane would still do his figures like this, to be quite honest with you. I love this era of McFarlane Toys. This was like when they really shine and they were trying to stand out, I find. When they were making these little statue figures, these were beautiful. So those are the doves and the bats. And again, for little tiny pieces that you could just put next to Ozzy Osbourne and don't really do too much with them, they look really good. Next, let's take a look at his base. So, in order to do that, let's detach and I'll show you everything. And this is not stuff that's difficult to put apart or put together, so it's very simple. First things first, you have the base that he comes on. And what's funny is that, I'll show you in a moment on his feet. There's peg holes on his feet, but on the base there's no pegs. So it's just a really nice stone base. Very, very detailed. It's very nice looking. And then he comes with these really very beautiful, I should say, looking stained glass church windows. And there's a candle up on here. It's really nice with the roses. And I love the old look of the brick around the window. These snap in. I'll show you that in just a moment, how they snap into place. So there's that. And then it's pretty much the same thing on the right as well. with your candle, and like back is the same. And then you have the big centerpiece, which is more cracked, gives the cracked effect with the roses, and you've got Ozzy's cross there. And turn it around, it's the same thing. There's nothing really on the top, but it's a really beautiful stained glass backdrop. And then we have Ozzy's logo that, as you saw before, pops into the stained glass. So what you do basically is you take the pieces, you just connect them to these little pegs here, just like that. Pop it in. Pop this one in as well. And pop the middle one in. And you got your backdrop. And then you're going to take this and you're going to peg it into the back here. Just like that. And that gives you the base for Ozzy Osbourne to stand on. And when it's all together, I mean, it looks very nice. Look at that. It's really beautiful looking. They did a good job on the backdrop as well. Any way you display it, it looks good. It's just a beautiful looking piece. I'm actually glad that I have this out of box because this is going to actually display very nicely on my shelving unit that I display my loose figures. I really like the detailing. They really knocked it out of the park with the base. Okay, so now that brings us to the figure himself. Let me take this out for a moment. Okay, so you got Ozzy Osbourne. Looks good. I think he looks really great. They captured the face really well of Ozzy. He's got the flowing hair. He's got this piece of hair right here. And up here, see the arm? Okay, so that's basically the pose that they've got him in. Now let's take a look. There's not really much in terms of articulation, to be quite honest with you. The legs move a little bit, but for the figure that it is, you're not gonna move him, pose him too much. But he looks great. I love so you got some, come on. Right on his hand, you got some really neat rings. It's got his Ozzy tattoo on his fingers, which is fantastic. And if you look closely, shaking my camera there, he's got the one painted black pinky that Ozzy always has. So that's really neat. He's got these bracelets that are not removable, but they're not, stuck. So they're really cool that they made that realistic. Same thing for this arm. I know you have the chains here with all the crosses. And you got this really nice cape that actually looks like it's the Spawn skulls. If you look at that properly, it looks like he put the Spawn skulls on there. And the arm does move. Sorry about that. So it moves a little bit like that. You want to put that in place. And he's got some leather pants on. Chains going all around the pants. And he's got a really nice flowing cape. That looks really freaking good, the cape. The figure himself looks really good. I will say this, however, okay? These chains are quite a hassle. If you move them around, they'll get tangled, they'll get stuck, and this strand of hair right here will get caught in the chain. So be careful when you're moving them around. I also forgot to show off that he's got a chest piece tattoo right there, if you can see that. He's got that chest piece just underneath the strappings. But yeah, and he's got, there we go, he's got another tattoo right there. And pull it back a little bit, and he's got another tattoo right here as well. And I think he's got another one over here. You just got to really pull that cape back, and you can see those tattoos on his arm. But all in all, really well sculpted, really well detailed. Like I said, the chains on my end, the chains are a little, I don't know, it gets tangled very easily. But then when you put them on the base, yeah, that's where Ozzy shines, and he stands up really well. Last thing I want to bring up and take a look at is the accessory that goes in his hand. And that was going to be his brown cross. So it looks like it's a makeshift cross. And it's the same thing all around, but really nicely detailed with pieces of metal there. I don't know why my camera's not focusing in. Let me try to get some focus in there. It's a little bit better. It's just a little small, that's all. A little bit of the metal pieces tied around, and it really looks good. It's like a consistent wood all around. It looks great, this cross. And what's going to happen with this is that you're going to want to put this, my camera will focus, there we go. You're going to want to put that right there in Ozzy's hand. And so like that, he's going to stand right there with the cross in his hand, and you're going to have all these doves, I'm so sorry, all these doves and all these bats around him. I don't know what you want to do with the bats. You can't even really put them on the backdrop. You can try if you want to, but in the most part, these things are just really, they're meant there for display. But again, it's a really great looking figure, and even though these things are just meant for display, they still look good around Ozzy. I mean, you could probably put one in his hand. No, you can't even put them in his hands. That's the problem. So it's just going to look like a bunch of dead birds and dead bats around Ozzy Osbourne, and that's really what you're going to get with these little tiny accessories. At least this looks good, and like you can somewhat manage to put that on top of there, so that looks good as well. I think this is a beautiful figure. Do I like it as much as Rob Zombie? Yes, I love it as much as the Rob Zombie figure. I still think that the Rob Zombie is a little cooler, but I prefer the backdrop with the Ozzy Osbourne figure. I honestly, out of the three that we're taking a look at, the next one coming up, Alice Cooper, I think that's probably the most beautiful out of all three of them. But I don't know. What do you guys? Let me know down below. What do you guys think of this Ozzy Osbourne figure? Do you have it? Is it a figure you've always wanted? Let's talk all things heavy metal in the comment section below.
I can't say it enough. Thank you, Jay, for everything you've sent me here today. I appreciate everything. This is all definitely going to go to good use. And I definitely see some figure review videos coming up in my future because of all this cool stuff you sent me.
I mentioned before that I love these old McFarlane Toys figures, and that this was probably my favorite time period for McFarlane Toys, when he made these basic articulated but basically statue figures. I find, yes, he's putting out a lot of cool figures nowadays with his DC Multiverse and the long-awaited return of the Spawn line. But I do, like, there's something about the old days of McFarlane Toys up until maybe 2005 or 2006. To me, those were the good days of the McFarlane Toys. Those are the McFarlane Toys that I prefer. Nowadays, yes, when you come across some of these figures in package, they're quite a pretty penny, but I still love them. Like on my birthday, let me just show you something quickly. I picked up this Tenchi Muyo figure on my birthday, and I just love that because it brings me back to the days of the old McFarlane Toys. I love that. Every time I see some of these old figures by McFarlane and they're a reasonable price, I like to pick them up. I have, like I said, Bark at the Moon Ozzy, full in package, and I have Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2003 remake by McFarlane Toys. But that being said, what do you guys think? What's your favorite time frame for McFarlane Toys? Do you prefer the old stuff? Do you prefer his early toys when he was first starting out? Do you prefer when did you like when he started doing this stuff here, when he was making statue figures? Or you're like, no, Boomer, you know what? I prefer nowadays with the fully articulated figures, the DC Multiverse, the Spawns, all those figures. Let me know down below, guys. That would be a lot of cool fun to talk about. But with that being said, also, have you seen what the Bark at the Moon figure looks like? When it comes to comparison, do you prefer the Bark at the Moon Ozzy Osbourne figure by McFarlane Toys? Or do you prefer this Ozzy Osbourne by McFarlane Toys? Again, let me know down in the comments below. So we've taken a look at Rob Zombie. We've taken a look at Ozzy Osbourne. Next on our plate, we have to take a look at Alice Cooper. That will be coming very shortly. But until then, please and thank you. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Click the bell to be notified whenever I got brand new content out. Please and thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm seeing, like I said, a spike in my views, and I appreciate each and every single one of you guys supporting me. I am getting close to 550 subscribers. It'd be actually really kind of cool if we can close out the year at 600 subscribers. That'd be really neat. Okay, I'll be back with some more content, guys. I appreciate all of you guys tuning in and watching my channel and enjoying and watching all my content. Thank you. I wouldn't be here without you guys. Keep hunting, keep collecting, go listen to those heavy metal records. And as always, it's cool if it's nerd cool. Mama, I'm coming home.